And this beautiful young lady here.
Edna told me that her father used to call her Eddie. You have to hear this story because Edna does not treat you like you are a stranger. When you come into her home, or her music house as she calls it, you become her children, and she needs a nickname. Because when I say Edna, it sounds like someone foreign to me. To me, she's Eddie. So I walked up to her one day and I said, "Can I call you Eddie?" And she says, "Oh, my father called me Eddie." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, there you go." So, I think it was 1986 that Edna showed up when I was in college at Cal State University, Fresno, doing the music program, and I was a baritone. And she said, "Who's that young man?" I ran down the hall and looked around the corner, and I said, "This lady is amazing. She got up on the stage and she worked with us like, as if she were Dr. Phil. She could figure out everything." I said, "Edna, I can't sing anymore because I was in a car accident." She says, "I already know that, honey. You need to put your left hand behind your ribs and hold your left shoulder back and just belt it out." I said, "How did you know that?" She says, "Because that's what I do." You know, that's really interesting, because to have a person look at you and not only see what's inside of your spirit, but to look at your body, and then to come to you and tell you you have a chance to be this professional singer. You can get on a stage and do anything with your life. Wow, you know, how many lights did she bring to the eyes of young people all over the world? And still today, that is her legacy.
Mom was in a couple of movies, believe it or not, a horror movie about 10 years ago. But I didn't really want to show you the scenes from that movie. And then called Finding Hope Now, that honored Father Manassian for his founding the organization Hope Now, which is Gangs to Jobs here in Fresno. A very amazing work of Father Manassian. Mom was in that movie, and she was the comedy relief. It's an awesome movie. There's a couple of scenes in that movie that still make me cry, but Mom was comedy relief. So we're going to start off our progressive blessing with showing you this little comedy section of the movie Mom was in.
Very lovely, Eva.
An organization called California Opera Association is to bring diversity of singers into the Fresno Valley and to have a broad and full range of inclusion. As you know, on stage, she has singers from all over the world, but she also has singers with various levels of functioning and disabilities, and that's what's made her company different. So when we did this we're calling this a musical roast, because rather than just having people come up and say, we love you, Edna, and this is what you've done for us, we want to show you what they've done, what Edna's done for them. So we're having a musical roast, but as part of that musical roast, we want to give you a sampling of the diversity of cultures that she works with. The guitarist tonight, some of his guitar music is not just flamenco, but he was doing some background singing in Farsi.
I didn't.
Oh, not yet, not yet. A little bit later on, which kind of like Carmen's been done in a lot of different ways, and that's kind of like a modernized twist on that. We have a singer tonight who is going to be up next, who's going to provide something for you in Armenian, and then after that, Japanese.
Let us introduce Misak Israelian.
Երևան դարձած իմ երևունի դու մեր նոր դավի մեր նորանի մեր փոքրիկ հողի դու մեծ երազան Այս մնա ենք բոլոր սեր Քեզ նովարբեր Դա քեզ սերը մեր Շեքարերի պես Ինե սերը մեր Զիգդարերի պես Երևան դարձած Իմեր եմ ունին Դարել ես սանցել Բայց մնացել ես պատանի Թոմասի սորով Քո արած նորով Մեծանաս դահարով Երևան
Edna ջան, շնորհավորում եմ քեզ քո գեղեցիկ ծննդյան կապակցությամբ։ Աստծուց ինքդ հասկանում եմ, էսա։ Աստծուց շատ շնորհակալ եմ ու համոզված եմ բոլորը, ովքեր որ ներկա են, որ դուք ծնվել եք ու ապրել եք, որովհետև դուք ձեր ապրելով համ ձեր կյանքն եք փոխել, համ շատ շատերի, ես դրանցից մեկն եմ։
Thank you for being here tonight, and I'm happy to be here for your birthday, and I'm happy to be part of so many people you've touched in your life.
Almost.
Almost. I mean, you think I'm asking about this, okay. Busy.
Ես եթե Edna-ին հանդիպած չլինեի, միգուցե արդեն Ամերիկայում չլինեի, ինքը մեր կյանքն էլ ափոխել։
And if I hadn't met Edna, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to come here, and she's changed my life. Right?
Yes.
Good.
You're doing good, Rob P.
I have special gift for you today. Just a second, please.
You gonna sing, Rafi?
Heather, it's later.
Edna and me went.
Edna, this is him and Edna. When they were studying, he took a photo. It's a very famous photo, and he for him.
I have one more thing that's special for you.
I found my love in Portofino perché ne sogni credo ancora lo strano gioco nel dolce incanto del mattino dove ti stavo ad aspettare ricordo volto tanto amato a Portofino rivedo te ricordo un angolo di cielo dove ti stavo ad aspettare ricordo volto tanto amato e la tua bocca da baciare I found my love in Portofino quei baci più non scorderò non è più triste il mio cammino a Portofino I found my love Ricordo un angolo di cielo dove ti stavo ad aspettare. Ricordo volto tanto amato e la tua bocca da baciare. I found my love in Portofino, quei baci più non scorderò. Non è più triste il mio cammino a Portofino. I found my love. Non è più triste il mio cammino a Portofino. I found my
And he is going to be singing, well, I'll let him share that.
Yes, I will share that. But first, I just want to thank you, Edna, from the bottom of my heart, like so many people here, what you've given me, the opportunities you've given me to sing, perform, what you've taught me, how you've encouraged me and inspired me. Thank you. I wouldn't be the person I am tonight without you. So, and I was just thinking your name, Edna, think about it. It spells out many of your qualities. E for energetic. This lady, 80 years old, goes to the Bay Area every week to coach vocal students. Am I not right? In addition to doing California opera here, flying off to Europe once in a while. 80 years old, that's pretty good. D, I would say dynamic. When I was singing the Javert part in Les Mis for Doctors of the Met, and at the end of the Suicide song, he's got to jump off a bridge without actually jumping off, you know. And Edna can tell you exactly how to do that. So just check with her. The N in Edna, I think for never negative. You're always positive. At Doctors of the Met, you know, we try to do our best. We're not exactly perfect all the time. She's always backstage saying, "You guys did wonderfully, thank you," and reassuring us. Thank you for that. And A, I don't know, just awesome, right? So, and actually, there's one letter that's not in her name, but I'm going to sing about it right now, right? Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like an aria, you sing to us. You do such amazing things for us. But whatever you do, it's always the best. Unforgettable, that's what you are. And forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, Edna, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that we are unforgettable too.
That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. That's why, Edna, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that we are unforgettable too.
We have up is Miwako Isano, who is from Chiba, Japan. And she's been a student for 8 years. And she is going to sing 2 love songs tonight, followed by Mata Be no Uta.
I'm not very good at speaking in front of people, but when I was driving,
Bisa. Pana šutke.
when I was driving from Sacramento 3 hours, I was practicing how should I say. And then came here, Charlie said everything. So I lost. But he didn't say one thing. One of the luckiest things is to have met Edna.
Go
So I will be singing something from Carmen tonight, and it's always a little scary to sing Carmen for Edna, but here we go.
A little prelude to Alex's song. All of you may or may not be aware that Edna is producing the Carmen by Bizet, Georges Bizet, who lived, I think, to be a really ripe age of, what, 26 years old? This man knew how to party, apparently. And Carmen is about that, the party of life and the tragedy of life. And when you hear Alex's voice, the first time I met Alex, I played the King Balthazar to her mother on the stage in a mall. And wow, I walked into rehearsal and I just heard this gorgeous mezzo voice. And well, that's enough. You have to hear her sing, so I'll leave it up to Alex.
Technical difficulties. It's okay, this is fine. It's good now. We're good.
Je ne guère la tente tâte, par avec mon nouvel amant. back a day or two, I have to tell a story of how I met Edna. I had returned from Europe. I studied opera directing, stage direction for opera, and worked in the business in Germany during the 80s. And I came back at the beginning of the 90s, and I had a studio in Visalia with about 16 or 18 kids. And one of them was in a beauty contest, and I was asked to be a judge. And so I went to wherever it was, I don't remember whether it was here in Fresno someplace, and sat there, and we were judging, or I was judging. And we sat there through 24 girls, of whom 23 danced and 1 sang. And so we went out for coffee, and I met the other judge who had been sitting next to me for this whole 23 girls dancing and 1 singing. And come to find out, she was a voice teacher from Fresno and had spent all of the 80s in Germany just like I was. And so we really go back not just the 26 years since we judged that competition, can you believe it's been that long? But the 10 years before, because we sat there that day and said, oh, do you know so-and-so? Oh yeah, do you know so-and-so? So we have shared that a long time. I was Edna's personal assistant when we founded the Fig Opera. And then I've been around the California Opera Association since its inception. Not every year, but most years. And it falls to me, or it falls to me, or it falls to me, depending on what's needed doing. So I'm kind of the jack of all trades for the company. I do direct, I design, and I occasionally sing even, no not much anymore. This is an interesting thing. Those of you that are opera people, probably, or opera aficionados, let's put it that way, probably know there is a German school of opera directing, which everybody hates in this country. Okay, it's called concept direction, and it's the kind of thing that you go and you go, well, I thought Carmen played in Seville. Why is it in Toledo? Or why, whatever. Anyway, so that's what I studied. I don't tend to direct that way. This is a great piece for me. This is called A Smoke-Free Carmen. Last year, Auckland Opera received complaints when its advertising posters for Bizet's Carmen showed offensive cleavage. In deciding to withdraw the posters, the general manager of Auckland Opera sensibly explained, it behooved us to find a more imaginative way to sell our product than just to resort to blatant sexist imagery. In the new ads, Carmen had a completely covered décolleté. Auckland Opera has taken a step in the right direction of providing a more wholesome, non-sexist Carmen. It is regrettable, however, that the recent Canterbury opera Carmen continued to promote inappropriate role models. Herewith,
that works with Edna falls in love with her. It's just, it goes without saying. Is this on?
Yeah.
Not that I need it for this room. But, so Edna and I, very interesting relationship. I took care of many of Edna's family members over many years during my 40 years of practice in medicine here in Fresno. And every now and then she would come in with one of them and we talk about their medical conditions and all, but I really had no idea who Edna was. I had some vague idea she was a musical person, but didn't really have a clue. I'm the second of the 3 doctors that perform as doctors at the Met. The other one is Harvey Edmonds, who's here. Harvey'd been studying with Edna for many years, and once I retired after 40 years of practice, the only thing I planned to do was play tennis. But Harvey kept bugging me. Go see Edna. He invited me up to hear him play, and because it was at the Elderberry House, I said yes, and he sang so many songs I couldn't understand in different languages, but he sounded pretty good. My previous experience in singing was limited to being lead singer in a doo-wop group in the late 50s in high school, and some college plays. So I eventually went to see Edna. And the first thing I said to her is, I'm here because Harvey keeps bugging me to come. I figured, well, why not? And by the way, I'm not an opera singer. She says, well, let me hear you sing. So I sang a few songs for her, and she says, you're right, you're not an opera singer. But you're a very good balladeer. And frequently, you know, I'll come in with songs, and Edna will say, "No, you don't want to sing that." So that's nice, but the words are silly. Like My Funny Valentine, she hates that one. But I brought in a song that I wanted to sing, and I was surprised. She said, "Oh, I love that song." She loves Elvis Presley. Can you believe that? Yeah. So for you, Edna, tonight I'm going to sing "Can't Help Falling in Love with You." Do I have a company? It's okay. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you. For I can't help falling in love with you. Tell me, why is there a doubt within my heart, my own? Tell me why. I but fear the time will come when we must part. Alas, I should die evermore. By day, by night, I dream of thee, my darling. My heart is but thine. Thine alone. So within thy tender arms enfold me.
Oh, wait. In thine arms? Wait. I think I can forget the words. Okay. In thine arms.
Let thine eyes look fondly into mine, for thy love bears a spell, a is a rapture that's all the afford. So within thy tender arms enfold me, for thy loss the world could not atone.
He sang one of the leads in Carmen that year, and we performed it at the Tower Theater. And so I decided, my daughter had been bugging me to get voice lessons, so I decided I would take voice lessons and she would as well. So she took lessons for about 6 years. My son, who has social phobic disorder, who shook his principal's hand like this, and Edna and I conspired against him. And so I kept complimenting my daughter about her singing, hoping my son would ask for voice lessons. He did, and about a year later, he was the only child actor in Gianni Schicchi, with a 15-piece pit orchestra and 200 people watching. Wow. He never looked back. Wow. Next year he starts law school at Northwestern.
Wow.
And I owe his conquering of social phobic disorder to Edna. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the song, which I'm going to be singing in Italian. It's another song of unrequited love. Love itself is here to free you from not loving. You see, he feels not loved by his the person that he is trying to conquer. The light hand that repels me still looks for the stroke of your light hand that repels me still looks for the stroke of my hand. Your eyes exclaim, I love you, even when your lips say, I will not love you.
Edna, I met you with Wendell Phillips when you collaborated with him and we did the Magic Flute and I did the Queen of the Night. That was the best Queen I've ever done. And the last one. So anyway, I'm going to be doing Costa Diva from Norma, which I worked on with you just the other day, and I'm sure you'll have notes for me. But I just want to...
my precious Edna, who recently came back into my life. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't ruin my voice because I'm gonna cry. Edna, I met her when I was 17. That's 22 years ago. And my whole family loves you, Edna, because of the person that you are, the blessing that you are. The Holy Spirit just radiates through you, and that's why you change lives. That's why. Just in case anybody didn't realize why she changes lives, it's because the Holy Spirit works through her and she allows it to. That's why. And I didn't see Edna for so many years. I studied with her from the age of 17 to almost 20, and then I moved away to San Diego to study, to go to school, and I did not choose music at first, stupidly. But you're young and you make silly mistakes. And I didn't see her until about 8 years, no, I saw her at a family wedding, which shocked me, and I cried.
Il est ici, je le verrai.
avrà nono sulla tua bocca lo dirò quando la luce splenderò ed il mio bacio scioglierà il silenzio che ti fa mia. Tramontate stelle, all'alba vincerò, vincerò,
The older you get, you know, you gotta use more lung capacity. Big operatic wind there. I want the biggest operatic wind you can get out of those lungs.
You can do Vincera.
They're sparkling.
They won't go. They won't go.
My wish has already come true. So we'll go ahead and cut the cake. We do have additional entertainment for the rest of the evening. We have a performer by the name of Michael Nagy who will be providing dance music. He can do music, he can do requests, and really if somebody wants to get up and sing with him, he's pretty cool. He says, I'll do it, you know. If Eddie wants to get up and do the guitar, so rest of the evening it's like party time.
Deborah.
I don't know if you're gonna fall.
We have a very, very beautiful young granddaughter also not with us tonight. That is Zizi, and she's in LA, and her little baby, my great-granddaughter. They were not able to be here tonight, as I have found out. Where is Diane?
Oh.
Eddie, get up there.
Eddie too.
Eddie, come on. Yes.
Did you bring your guitar?
No.
Aww.
First and foremost, I wish to thank God for the most beautiful life that anyone can ever imagine and have. I lived by the Holy Spirit, but I lived in the hands of God, and I lived triumphantly and victoriously. It has been a long, courageous life, and it's a beautiful journey. I have been teaching for 68 years, longer than many of you are even on this earth yet. But the joy of having children all over the world. I have birthed so many children. And they all keep in touch. And it is the most wonderful, wonderful feeling to give love to the world. That's the first thing that you learn as an artist. If you want to be an international competitor, you have to learn the very first ingredient is to love the world, love people, love cultures. Become one and all with all. Never to walk with judgmental attitudes. I feel very deeply, this was not a prepared speech, so forgive me if I'm thinking as the words come from my mouth. The words come from my heart, wholeheartedly. It is very, very wonderful to praise God. Going through the journey of an international opera singer, you have to live in an airplane. You have to learn how to love an airplane. You have to love turbulence. You have to love time changes. You have to have food poisoning. And you have to sing with food poisoning. You don't always have the most perfect circumstances to be a performer. So the next attitude issue is the next ingredient, is attitude. Receiving attitude and giving attitude. And what type of attitude that you give to the world is what comes back to you. It is the most beautiful gift to receive love, and you can only receive it when you give it first. And many of you here tonight have spoken about my love. My love for my family is above and beyond words that I can speak now. My beautiful brother, Charlie. My sister-in-law, Ellie. When I first started singing, I was 9 years old. And my mother took me to every singing teacher in the city to try to find out if I could sing or not. And hopefully they would tell her that I was not talented as a singer. Because in those days, to be a woman on the stage was a very, very a disrespectful position. They wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. So, we are looking at the lawyer, and we're looking at the doctor, and all the beautiful children.
Who are also doctors and lawyers, and wonderful creative musicians, and singers and artists.
And all the doctors and the lawyers and the beautiful people here to come tonight to celebrate my life. It's hard to sit down and listen to the emotional feelings. I don't know if you ate any dinner or not, but I didn't. And I've just been crying internally and externally, saying thank you to each and every one of you. This is a very difficult environment to sing in. Acoustically, the ceilings are low. It's very difficult for the performers. Each and every one of you managed beautifully. The very first thing that I do when I go into any room is to analyze the acoustical situation. And the singers learn that. That's one of the things that we teach, we train. Going back to the fact that I was 17 years old and I won the Metropolitan Opera competitions and went to New York and was a winner in New York. My mother and father said I had to come back home. Right, Arson? Arson, please stand. Arson and I started out together as schoolmates, and 17 years, Arson knew my mother and father and knew that I had to leave Fresno and I had to go to San Francisco. And Arson was the first friend who stepped up to the plate and said, "Go." And I got in the car and I drove out of Fresno. My mother was having a heart attack, called my Uncle Wally, Michael, Lisa, thank you for being here. Paul, thank you, dear. Well, my father was standing on the highway, Charlie. Daddy was flagging me down. And I either had to hit him and run over him or stop. And he says, "Where are you going?" And of course, Uncle Wally got the message, and there he was also. I said, "I'm going to the opera." "Where are you going to the opera?" "Which opera are you going to?" "I'm going to San Francisco." "You can't do that. Your mother will have a heart attack." I said, "No, she's already had one." "I'm on my way going." So he said, "Scoot over." I didn't know where I was going. I was at Roding Park on the Golden State Highway. And he said, "Move over." And my father took me to San Francisco to audition for the great Kurt Herbert Adler. Gary, you know that name well. And of course, Kurt Herbert Adler, after giving me an examination of 1 week to learn 10 opera choruses, which is a very difficult feat, but I had photographic memory at that time. I passed and I became a member of the San Francisco Opera Chorus at age 18, which is the youngest member ever. Thank you. That began my journey. And my journey has taken me all over the world, in all countries. I have the most beautiful friends. To be an international competitor is a very difficult journey. Isn't it, Alex?
Yes.
To be a singer, it's quite easy. Everyone can be a singer. But to be a person that aspires for the world, for the name of the Armenian artists, for the name of those beautiful artists that have passed away that I have sung with, for all the great artists in the world that I have sung with, who encouraged me. I sang for my mother and father, and all my cousins, Cousin Gloria, Cousin Michael. And Charlie doesn't know this yet, but when my mom and dad passed away, I transferred that energy to my brother. And then one of the greatest moments in my life, of course, was when I took Debbie and Diane to look into our future to get our family arrangements all made. I said, I want to live with honor and I want to die with honor. and I have lived with honor. I hope I have brought joy to your lives. I hope that I have worked tediously for our community and sister cities to understand and know that we here in Fresno are very, very fortunate. We are the food basket of the world. So I triumphant all over the world saying, why can't we be the known for our art and for the joy that we bring our artists like Audra McDonald, many, many beautiful artists, John Shabaglian, that crusade all over the world to make us proud here. One of the greatest inspirations of my life is a dear, dear, dear friend, a woman of great strength and power that has allowed me to dream ahead and keep the pursuit of music in my blood, in my veins. Dr. Randy Robinson, thank you. Thank you. We have John Ballerino, a powerhouse trainer, coach, accompanist, to grace our evening to come all the way here. It is a beautiful moment for me. I don't have enough words to say thank you. But lastly and most important, and trust me, this is a very, very important gratitude to give to both my daughters, Diane and Debbie, for all the years that they have shared their mother with the world. It takes two powerful women, wonderful women, to share their mother. There were times when they had birthday parties and I couldn't come home because I was singing internationally. I was in Germany. They wouldn't allow me to come home. They had to have their birthday parties with Grandma and Grandpa.
Which was nice.
And thank you, and thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Diane, and all the children. Thank you, the men of the family, this beautiful family of strong men. Look at them, they're powerhouses. Every time I need some help, I call and they drop everything and they come. It is really, really important for me to share with you that this evening was my dream evening, that I asked the children that when I am no longer here, please celebrate in concert. Do not go to any church anywhere in the world, and please, Father Pappas, do not let them celebrate me with tears.
Okay.
Those are my wishes. And they decided that why should we have a celebration of life after you're gone? Let's have a celebration of life while you're here, right? So, I wish to thank Larry Barber for 25, 30 years of keeping the opera together and keeping Edna on the road. Thank you, Gagik. Thank you, Rosie, Armin, and all the children for bringing me my current stability, and my love continues with respect for each and every one of you in this room. Rick, thank you for holding me together all those years in building the California Opera Association. We are going to do a wonderful, wonderful season, a festival. It will begin July 13th and end on August the 4th. And we are giving birth to a new Armenian tenor. Besides, you know how much I love tenors, and then of course baritones and basses, sopranos too, my dearest. Where are you sitting? Thank you, and Jamie, thank you. Misak, your brother is going to be coming to sing Jose in Carmen, Ara Karapetyan, a new tenor from Iran. Please come and support our beautiful singers. It's my dream to give birth as much as I can to all singers worldwide of all cultural national heritages. But I have a special affinity for Armenia, as they are so handicapped. And our singers are working there for $50 a month, and they're singing every week. They have to be in the opera house 7 days a week for $50. And if it's anything that I can do, I want to reach out and bring our singers out into the world, like Hasmik Papian, Isabel Bayraktaryan, who now lives in Fresno. So, God bless each and every one of you. You know my work is not finished. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing this beautiful, beautiful evening. And I hope I haven't spoken too long, Father Pappas. I'm never speechless, really. Now, the party. Thank you. Thank you. The party is not over, it's just starting. So for the younger crowd, please come on board and dance and have a good time. And for those of you who have to retire, I will be over there at the door to say goodbye to you and thank you from my heart.
And still have the cake and the fruit coming up.